architect and engineer, I tell people I'd love to see nothing more than the hard hats getting back to work. That's just buying the truck, buying the car, buying the refrigerator, building houses. And I think when Washington was talking about the stimulus bill, there was sort of a common agreement that if you're going to go into debt, or if you're going to borrow money, just like you were to borrow money to put your child into college, or to borrow money to fulfill it, to pay for your house, it needs to have a long-term benefit and pay for itself over time, something you can't pay cash for. And infrastructure would have been perfect. Instead, we're talking about planning maglev trains, and we're paying more government programs. That money has disappeared into the bureaucracy, and it hasn't benefited small business, hasn't benefited small banks, hasn't benefited anybody in Tifton or Savannah or even Atlanta. It's disappeared into the never land of Washington, D.C. The infrastructure is a valid purpose of government, as I said it earlier. You can't have a business, you can't recruit a business here if there's not a highway to deliver those goods, or if there's not enough water for that plant. So that's a valid form of government. That's something I'd like to be focusing on and use my professional training and my legislative experience to put Georgia's back to work.
Let me address it from a little bit different standpoint. Most of those locations around the state that you referenced that have failing infrastructure that are just falling apart because they haven't been maintained for the last 30 or 40 years, if we look at those locations, most of those locations are being governed by people who are elected who are not fiscally responsible, like most of us in this room. And what has happened is that you and I, who are fiscally responsible all around the state of Georgia, we're now being told that, well, we've got to step in and pay the bills for Atlanta and all these other urban areas around the state, because those who are governing those areas have been irresponsible financially for the last 30 or 40 years. And now you and I, as the common Georgians who live everywhere else around the state, we're being told we have to foot the bill for that. I think we must force them to have more fiscal responsibility. I know that part of the problem to that is that there's so much concentrated in downtown Atlanta. One of the things I'm very excited about is that part of our model for state government in my campaign is the Georgia First model. What we would do is we would take many of those state departments of government that are currently housed in downtown Atlanta in very expensive real estate and disperse them throughout the state in various locations around the state. That would do several things. First of all, it would alleviate some of the traffic downtown. It would make us a model green state. It would, because just about everything can be done electronically now, it would make us a model high-tech state for state government around America. And it would also, by moving those state offices out of Atlanta to different places around the state, you would have an infusion of fresh new talent for each of those state offices instead of the same stagnant gene pool that's been running Atlanta and running Georgia for the last 40 years. So I think that's part of the solution too.
Let me say this. We've got less money today as individuals, and we've got less money today as the government to work with than we had a couple of years ago. Raising taxes is not the solution to fixing the infrastructure problems.
Amen.
What we're going to have to do, whether it's highways or water systems or the education system, is we're going to have to go back and redesign the delivery process. One of the things that we did in the past that I think worked better than the things we're doing today with transportation projects, and you would know more about this than I do, quite honestly, because of your experience with the DOT, was we used to do the architectural and the planning at the Department of Transportation, and then we would put those plans out for bid. Today, we've moved to these supersized design-build projects that your smaller business owners and your mid-sized business owners that were contracts can't bid on. We basically took the competition out of the system when we supersized these projects. All we've got to do with regard to that is to back up and do it the way we were doing it a few years ago. We made a mistake when we supersized those projects, and we need to admit we made a mistake. Go back to having one architect draw the plans and then putting it out for bid. How many, and you can answer this question, and I can, how many road contractors do you think did we have just approximately within a 60-mile radius of Tift County 15 years ago? How many would you think we had?
Probably 30, 40.
How many do we have today?
2 or 3 main ones. Maybe I had to.
Okay, so we've gone from 20 or 30 small to mid-sized business owners that can pave roads that put competition in the system to less than half a dozen. We made a mistake there, and I don't mind telling you, I probably voted for that piece of legislation. If I did, I'm sorry, because it was a mistake, and we need to back up and we need to undo it. And what I want you to understand about Austin, Scott, is this. I will never let my individual pride get in the way of progress. And if you can show me where I'm wrong, trust me, I do not like to be wrong. And I will go back and I will apologize for anything that I said that was wrong. And we'll take the new plan and we'll move forward. If it's real good, I'll take credit for it, but let you stand in the picture with it. But I want you to know, I mean, honestly, we have let our political leaders in this country have let their individual pride get in the way of progress for us. How many elected officials have you ever heard say, I was wrong? And I want you to know, I think I was wrong in casting that vote to move to more of the design and build projects. And I think we need to back up and undo it. We've got to find a better way of doing it, because if we don't find a better way of doing it, you're going to end up paying more in taxes and you're going to get less for it. And I don't think that's acceptable.